All right, y'all know what it is. ODD, BALL. See it on the shirt. We'll be back with another one, man. A lot of stuff has happened in sports over the past week. This is not a normal oddcast, whatever you knew us as, formerly known as, but known now as the Odd Pod. This isn't our normal rendition. It's just your boy Mark J tapping in for the one time solo dolo. Do this from time to time. You know, we are the Louisville, Kentucky local. Keep it local. Start out, get to the national, go regional, national, all that stuff. Thank you for rocking with us once again. Rate, review, subscribe, do what you do. We came here for a different perspective, so go ahead and get yourself into a different mindset. No, I'm just playing, but for real, just different takes, different ways to look at it, different perspectives. We have, before we even get into the sports, I'm just letting y'all know, we have a special Martin Luther King Day episode that y'all do not want to miss. I actually have someone who marched with Dr. King when he was here in Louisville. So she was 13 years old and was arrested for it. So that's going to be a really good one. That's going to be a really good one. Southside Mike. Anyone who knows, if you know, you know. If you don't, tap in. Southside Mike jumping on with his producer over at Self-Made 808's been producing for a while. It's going to be a dope interview. I'm glad we finally got him on. We've been meaning to get him on. So season 2 is really going to be cracking now. I'm telling y'all. That's why I'm not telling y'all to do the normal, YouTuber, subscribe this. I'm telling y'all so y'all don't miss anything, because y'all going to look up and y'all going to be like, oh my gosh, look at this. Oh my gosh, look at that. So, but no, in all seriousness, appreciate everyone who does tap in, man. One time for the one time. Give it up for yourselves. Life's hard, it's tough, there's a lot going on. So we're going to keep it fun, chill, relaxed. Y'all know the mood, man. So to get into it, I'm not going to lie. We're Louisville and, Kentucky. We're in Louisville, Kentucky. So I guess we're Louisville and Kentucky as a byproduct of that combo. But, we usually start out with men's sports in the man's world. But I got to start out with the U of L's women's basketball. We have not covered them enough. They've been on a freaking roll since I think their last loss was to the University of South Carolina, a great team ran by Don Staley, a game I wish I would have got to, but them tickets got up too high and I waited too late. So just keep it a buck with you. But I am going to the next Notre Dame women's game. But nonetheless, this University of Louisville's game against Notre Dame really did put the whole season in perspective for people who are casual fans, and for it was really a build-up to. I mean, we've had some good wins. We've lost to the top competition. I say we lost to Kentucky, South Carolina, UConn. So the teams we lost to are all top 5 teams. You know what I'm saying? Top 3 teams. Outside of that, really handled our business. So we were going on the road against the Notre Dame's women, who are notoriously a top team, still with a really good player, Hannah Hidalgo, who earlier this year went for 44 points and 16 steals. I mean, come on, man. It's absolutely ridiculous. So we knew that she was going to sit around and try to roam and do her thing. Let me see something. No, but nonetheless, do her thing. You know what I'm saying? She's tough, She's a Notre Dame point guard, and we're from Louisville, so we're going to hate on her. We still got beef with Muffin McGraw, but that's for another day. But we knew it was going to be tough on the road. Even, I think one of the pregame show, if you listen to the radio, I think one of my commentators said that it's like a 10% swing when playing at Notre Dame, because it's such a hard place to play when it comes to percentages on pregame predictions on the winner. We knew we had it in for us. No matter if that's a good team or it's just a great player leading a pretty good team. So shout out to our women for coming up with a 79-66 win on the road. Double digits convincingly. Big night for a lot of women. The first one, Notre Dame's coach. I told somebody she looked like Janelle Monáe lookalike winner at the Essence Festival. She looked like she was about to grab a mic and rip off her jacket and I ain't about to do it. All right. But big picture, I feel like Jeff Walz has a basketball green thumb. Of course, he can recruit some studs. We've had studs over studs, especially at the point guard position, which I feel like we have another one. But also he develops them well. That's just something that we see. We see it year over year, but when you have such, a raw freshman class like we had last year, it's like raw ingredients, but they're the cornerstone of the recipe. You know what I'm saying? So I just think him being able to transition into this year, keep them, retention's a big thing. And then on top of that, build with all these ladies to where they're playing a lot of minutes. and they're giving us a lot of production. For example, like first time I saw Taj, I thought she's talented. She's got it. Coming in her first game playing UCLA, overseas, top team, Lauren Betts, taking them to overtime. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying she didn't come in with it, but it's almost like you have to learn to hone it coming in as a freshman, team on your shoulders at Louisville. And honestly, the team was green last year, taking the helm, learning to perform at a high level in terms of production and winning. So having all those responsibilities, but then on top of that, being so good and having all those abilities that she does have. Big guard can get in the lane, has an awkward jump shot. Her game's dope though. So it's like learning, having all those abilities, learning which ones to use in these scenarios. You are a freshman, on into the fire. And then, building up to her performance, I think a lot of that is the reason why we won at Notre Dame, double digits. Because that's a lot. That's a lot to ask anyone. But to then do it and produce in such a short period of time, that's why I'm a big fan of Taj and where she's at in her growth, her road to where she wants to get to. And, her stats and the performance against the average, her stats say she played a highly efficient game, which is true. But you look at those numbers from three and you think, wow, she shot it well. I think it was the impact of those threes in terms of the context of the game. She was answering Notre Dame's spurts. Was it Prosper and Ayana? Two players for Notre Dame besides Hannah, who gave them the most production, I'm pretty sure. But they shot a high percentage from three, too. But it felt like when they were going on those spurts where they were trying to jump back into the game, that was the one answering with her threes. So her threes were more impactful than just being 4 for 5. They were, they were cutting off spurts. She was resetting the tone of the game back and taking back a little momentum when the crowd really wanted to get into it, which is why it's so hard to win at Notre Dame anyways. It's like, and she did it without shooting a whole bunch of shots. We'll get to the other person who was hot, but highly efficient, man. Highly efficient in her affected the whole game. Assists, defense. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. Taj she's won. She's won. Like if she stays here along with that crop, I don't see why they can't make a Final Four. I just don't see it. And look at the teams they've lost to this year, all Final Four teams. And they didn't get blown out by them. Didn't play their best against Kentucky. UConn definitely. Yeah, we got smacked by UConn. But out of those games, it's like one smacked, one you didn't play well, and you still in the game. The other one you should have won. Two were at home, admittedly, but still. So I don't know. Back to the game though. They have someone in Hannah Hidalgo, Notre Dame, Irish's women's basketball team, who's going to do what she's going to do, right? But we know we have a team, especially with us being like second in the nation and bench scoring that I think 36 points a game, that we're going to do what we're going to do. So looking at that kind of game where it's like one great player in the team and what seems to be a budding great team, that gave me confidence. But then you look at Taj's performance and dang, they're canceling out, when it comes to just effectiveness of the box score, canceling out Hannah Hidalgo on half the shots is the exact point I talk about when she has all that talent, all that power. You're going up against a top player just in your position and top player in the nation, and you basically cancel her out with being twice as efficient or half. That's why I'm like, that's what I like about Jeff, his point guards, his ability to teach them how to play that role. It's hard to play guard at Louisville. Tough. With Hannah still going for, 20-some points on a Prosper, getting it going from beyond the arc. She needed a running partner or partners. And which leads us to our next player, Reyna Scott. I love her game. Yes, I've been waiting more so. It's just like, I mean, she's the tip of the spear when it comes to our defensive or our bench production, I would say. But just, love how she controls the game, the pace. Like she attacks with her opportunities, but she doesn't hesitate. But it also doesn't speed up her game either. Like, I got it. Now I got to hurry up and get to the hole since it's there. Like, she don't let nobody speed up. And she gets her shot off, and she can shoot a multitude of shots. It's impressive. It's something hard to do. It's impressive, the shooting performance, but more so her ability to create different shots for herself. 20 points on only 13 shots, I think. Oh, no. With only one of those being a 3 and one free throw. Meaning she was getting busy, like during the game, like game action. She had 3 steals too. So like, that's why I'm like, she was getting busy, like not just a bunch of threes, not just a bunch of free throws. She was getting busy in the game. That's why I'm like, so in the context of the game, I'm like, it's hard for her not to be, play of the game. But like I said, defense too. So just a coming out party on the road for Reyna. Randolph, Ziegler, and Barry may not have those were our glue gals, I'll call them. They didn't shoot the best. They did everything else very well. Them three combined for half the rebounds, in which we out rebounded Notre Dame by 2 on the road, which isn't bad. They got some big and athletic girls down there. Defensively, Hannah Hidalgo is extremely fast. So it's like, I'm sorry, Amani Berry, that I thought you needed a little bit more help at times when she was turning the corner at the free throw line. But did a good job. She's a big guard. It's hard for her to finish over top. She was like having to dang near jelly it and float it over top of a player, which I mean, she's a good player, but I'll also take those odds kind of, over a big guard. So it's like, just don't foul. Speaking of, I'll get into that later. Ziegler just didn't have a good shooting night, but she did everything else well. Same way with Randolph, she did well from the free throw line, though. Kenzie had 10. But Kenzie's one of them people, you just play her a good 25, and you look up, she has double-digit points, almost double-digit rebounds. She affected the game, this and that, blah, blah, blah. I love her game. Sidetrack, my wife freaking loves Zebo. When she saw him on pits and pro leagues, back when he was playing at Memphis, and Memphis was the stuff, I'm like, girl, I love Zebo. Like, you don't take no shit from nobody. That's the man. What you talking about? That boy, he barely slide a piece of paper under him when he jumps, gets his shit off against the best big men in the league. How can you not like Zebo? It's like the Escalade. Side count, that's another one. That's my dad used to hoop with him back in the day in the sack. But how can you not like a big man playing basketball? Like a big dude, you know what I'm saying? Even a big woman. Shut up my girl at Iowa State. But anyways, back to the point. Glue girls, glue gals. I love Amani Berry's game. More she is comfortable. Which goes back to Jeff. I think Jeff does a good job. I thought freshman year I was like, she got all the tools, but she's uncomfortable. That's just me. Like, she's uncomfortable in the flow of the game, in the context of the flow of the game. But I knew if she got it together, she could really be something. And a Swiss Army knife at that, which I thought, don't fall in love to just be a shooter. She's not. I love how she'll take a mid-range shot. Like, I love that. Like, people like, just take threes and get it to the rim. Okay. Somebody gives you a free, wide open little. So you expect me to hit a free throw at a certain percentage, but I'm not, but you don't think I can hit a wide open midi at a certain percentage. Like, that still is in the realm of analytically efficient. I think y'all be smoking. That's just me, though. That's just me. You play enough ball, like, that's a good shot. Like, a wide open shot's a good shot. I don't care where it's from, as long as it's within reasonable, and a mid-range shot's an easy shot. People don't give that as, oh my gosh, but look at the percentages. Look how easy of a shot that is for everybody. Everyone wants to shoot a three, which is not an easy shot. So I'm like, well, what do I know? But anyway, shout out to all them. Shout out to Istanbul. She came off a career high in Miami, then caught the flu. I think she gave it to Jeff, Coach Walls. But nonetheless, she shot a healthy 5 of 7 in her 23 minutes. Like all these players I looked at, and I'm like, raw. Lindsay, Berry, Taj wasn't really raw. Easton, I don't think she was raw, but I think she was more so like the Fru kind of comparison on our men's basketball team, where it's like transitioning just to the nuances of the game that are different in a collegiate game coming from overseas. Very impressed by her growth this season specifically. I like her game. Strong, plays hard defense. Seems to be like a talker on the defense, can spearhead that on the back end. Offensively, gets more efficient. She takes good shots. She has good body control. I mean, there's a lot of things I like about her. So her coming in, missing the pig game, but then bouncing back, and then coming in 5 of 7 in 23 minutes. Only thing that really stopped her was foul trouble. Me as the fan talking, this is what I'll say. And the Notre Dame refs, they try to keep him in the game. She ran when Hannah Hidalgo ran full speed, out of control, did a freaking, I don't know what she planned on doing, but she didn't know. That's how I knew she was out of control. Ran into bullet glue, and they called that a block. I thought okay, so I'm not splitting hairs on her body positioning and it's done. I'm talking more so of the principle of the player was out of control, so call that shit a charge if it's close. That's what I think. For ballers, like, I mean, I'm not gonna act like I'm no was really in there. But for someone who's played a lot of basketball just over my life, yeah, you out of control. Like if I'm a coach and we're in practice, and I'm teaching my players how to play the game. I'm like, nah, boop, that's a charge, go. Just on principle, because that's what's gonna happen most of the time. So that saved Hannah from foul trouble. Put Easton in foul trouble. She still gave us good production. Still won by double digits. I love it. Anaya came in, gave us good minutes, 6 points, few boards. Great team win. So shout out to our women. I had to start out with them, give them their dues. I don't give them enough dues. Yes, I will. It's not just because they're winning. It's because with football season being done, I can finally do my due diligence and not just shortchange them. Thank y'all for tapping in on that. I'm sure we want to get to U of L's men's basketball, which we're coming off a loss to Virginia. We're coming off a lot of speculation because Michael Brown's still hurt. Back spasms. For anyone who hasn't had back spasms, man, I had back spasms, man. I tried to play basketball with back spasms. That shit was some of the worst shit in my life. I'm going to tell you two things, comparison, right? Both point guards for Louisville and Kentucky. So anyone who knows me, I messed up my shoulder in high school playing football. So it's, I should have got surgery on it. I still need to get surgery on it, but it will pop out. And I've popped it out maybe 8 to 10 times playing basketball since high school over my life, right? And I put it back in type shit. So I know exactly what Jalen Lowe's going through. I was playing for fun and still doing it. I admire Jalen Lowe. I really do. Because he could just have surgery and be done with it. But he's not. He's dogging it. And then from back spasms standpoint, that's miserable. That's absolutely miserable. And as hard as that young man, he's still almost a boy, works out, I knew something like that was coming. I knew like, you're going to have to slow down, bro. This is a marathon. This is not a sprint. You know what I'm saying? Like, looks good, shooting with your boy. I can't think of his name, the pro shooter dude. Doing all this, doing all that. All that stuff's cool, man, and you working really hard, but you're gonna reach a point where I gotta work smarter, not harder, bro. So that brings us into like Michael Father's, giving, I wouldn't say clap it back, but giving his response to the rumors that Michael's been sitting out too long, or they just doing what they do. They doing their own thing in comparison to the coaching. It just those are the narratives out there. And for me as a fan, I don't find them useful. I find them, at the root of the argument, dysfunctional. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that is the case, does it need to be addressed right now? When we want to, like, why are we starting shit with Michael and his father? I don't know if that was what he said was like a subtle clapback for the coach, some of the coaches, and that lame radio host, and I don't really care. Like, as a person who wants the best for the team when it comes to getting the most out of it, the season's short, bro. Why we, you know what I'm saying? Like, why are we arguing while we out together? Can we talk about this when we get to the crib? You know what I'm saying? Why is trying to be right about a scenario of a characterization of kids these days the priority over wanting something to work? Or in short, why you want to be right, bro, instead of wanting to make it work? Like, those lessons in reconciliation that this whole freaking world needs, instead of just gaslighting and being right. And if it's Michael Brown's dad responding to something he could have held his tongue on, which I also believe deserves some form of thought, from my soapbox, admittedly, Mr. Brown, then that's all it is. Leave it at that. That's just a quick 2 minutes on that. That's lame to me. Make it shit work. We're supposed to be in love, you feel me? That's the way I feel about it. We only got a year together. You feel me? Before I go back off to, war or something like that. And we arguing at dinner? It's a joke. That's just me. So I'm sorry, y'all gonna hate my analogies, but that's what y'all came here for. It's what we do at ODD. Like, that's what I'm talking about, the different perspectives. Like, we're gonna conflate everything to like a universal like ability for it to all interact and reach each other. It all is what it is. Ain't nothing new under the sun. You can conflate it all to your experiences, which gives us a greater perspective on like the seriousness of things. Like, can everyone experience and understand what it's like to shoot a ball with 2 minutes left, but we can't experience all these things and then combine them and then relate them and then understand maybe the perspective of someone in those situations. I know I'm going on a blah blah blah, but yeah, that's what we do here. Like, that's the formula in order to get the output that we're looking for. So, but back into the game, man. U of L's men's basketball versus Pittsburgh. Oh my gosh, we just came off the irony of that game, boy. Was, falling behind to Virginia last game and never taking the lead following that rough start. And I mean, that wasn't a good game. I mean, let's just say what it is. It wasn't a good game. So we got bullied by a bigger team, which we don't like. That's something that is starting to get annoying. So, as Louisville fans, and then the irony wasn't lost on us as U of L fans joining a TV broadcast since the Wake Forest game or whatever went over. Already up 13-0 as the visitors, in which McNeely already hit 3 threes. The visitors of Pittsburgh. No, the visitors, as the visitors in Pittsburgh, my bad, behind Isaac Mendeley's 3 early threes. So the question for me when I saw that was like, all right, can we hold on to this lead against a lesser team even without Michael for a 6 or 7 straight game, whatever it is? And then, of course, Woolley and Pitt hits a three. Woolley answers with a three of his own. So I'm thinking to myself, oh, well, everything's good when the threes are falling. So, what happens when the threes aren't hitting? Of course we look invincible, so. But then, so what happens when we settle down? Of course, we never settle down. Khalifa comes in, bangs a couple. I think Woolley hit another one. Javon, Kobe. I think everybody and their mama was hitting them except for Conwell. He was just dishing and chilling, running a highly well-oiled offense that we look like when we own. So what else? And then we finally miss a three. Fruit tips one in. He runs the floor for easy two. Hadley hits a three. Now we up 31-7 with 10 left in the first. And I'm just like, I know y'all can shoot well. I know y'all can score. So I think I'm more impressed. Y'all can tell me, what were you more impressed with, the 31 or the 7 that we held them to? The 31 we scored or the 7 we held Pitt to? I would have to say the 7. Pitt's not, they didn't look like a good team. So I don't want to. But I'm always going to go with defense first, especially with a Pat team who I know can score 100 points like every third game of the year. Like every 3 games, we could probably score 100 points. So it's always going to be the defense for me. A big lead allowed them to experiment with the big lineup. But also, Khalifa on this recent just heater, that gives us the ability to run the 2 big lineup, especially when you stay out of foul trouble. And a lot of times we stay out of foul trouble by getting ahead early. Just saying. So Kobe Rogers, geez Louise, that man gets hurt more than, he's like the collegiate example of like the elementary school kid who like cries every game because something happens to him that happens to everybody. And then also like half of it is like, bro just has bad luck, bro. He's like Kenny from South Park. Like he just be out there just, none of that should be happening to nobody else, but his head just bow or his hip just thrown into the crowd or just elbow to the face. I'm just like, Kobe, bro. You're going to need either more spatial awareness or like not calcium, magnesium. You're going to need more flexibility, bro. I don't think there's really too much in looking in the box score in this game. So I really didn't. I'm not going to lie to you. Conwell had 17 at one point in the second half, 6 from 7 from the field. I really liked his performance in terms of like as a Taj performance for me, where it's like, get the well-oiled machine going, do your thing, play the game, I think you need to focus on defense more. I saw Coach getting in your ass last game. So you need to focus on the smaller details compared to your days because we know you can do it easy. It's easy for you. It's really not easy. You make it look easy, though. You feel me? So it's like, that's what you did in the first half. And everyone was getting it. Thank goodness. McNeely was hitting that. It probably helped. But yeah, but it did. Cannot miss last night, too. So we were down, man. We were down. But yeah, McNeely, we needed that performance from him to start the game, to bust it open, to shorthanded. Like, let's go ahead and pop him in the mouth, let him know what it is. And then cruise, which we did. But Conwell was spearheaded that second half where I felt like the game was starting to get more normal, where we wasn't just banging a bunch of threes and they were missing a bunch of shots. And the lead was growing. It started maintaining a common distance. And Conwell answered like Taj did to keep it at bay the way they did. I think we ended up winning by like 40. He was a big part of why I stayed at that or grew. He was a big part of that, which is what I want to see against a lesser team. I know people like whatever. It's like, no, we better than them, bro. And they still playing ass, so beat their ass. That's what it is. That's the game, bro. The game ain't no emotions in the game like that, where it's just like, that's what I want to see. If my team is on ass, beat my team's ass. So they know when they go work on shit. It's what really needs to happen for you to win. Like, I'm not into all that BS. You know what I'm saying? So all that moral victories and shit like that. Like, no. So let's keep going. This team sucks at throwing oops, bro. James Scott would be in purgatory if he had stayed here, bro. The one Isaac McNeely, I've been talking to this with Damo and Rashad for a minute. Isaac McNeely threw one up to Frew. I'm like, y'all weak, bro. And Frew ain't even no alley-ooper type. And you still threw it late. But you have marginal, you feel me? I'm like, maybe James Scott would have, maybe on the opposite end, his alley-oops would have looked so ridiculous because the passes were so whack. Y'all let me know what y'all think, man. But important point on the commentator made, this is my last one. on the way Hadley attacks. The rest of the team, I feel like they be looking for Frew, not really, but the rest of the team, y'all be looking for fouls and shit like that. Like even y'all's projection off the way y'all jump, right? Jumping too far to the side so you fall short on your layup, Woolley, Orion. Even McNeely, like, y'all looking for contact, bro. Like, Hadley don't be looking for contact. Like, he get his shit off, he stays on balance. The rest of it, he stays focused through the shot. Like he ain't avoiding shit. Like, I need that from the rest of the team, though. Like it feels like he's the only one who does that. Like, I want to talk about and don't get me wrong, Ryan had an M1 today too. But when we play these bigger teams and shit like that, like, I don't see the same thing. I don't see the same aggressiveness. Just keeping it a buck. So shout out Hadley, because everyone gets mad. Oh, Hadley's little weak ass shot, this and that. Well, who else is doing it? They all can do it. If the other ones did it, I promise you we'd have more free throws. I promise you we get more fouls. I promise you it opened up the game a little bit more for us. But we don't do it. Only Hadley does. Let me see real quick. The rest of the ACC, interesting. Let me see something real quick. The rest of the ACC, interesting, because Duke beat Stanford. Men's basketball, we're talking, by 30 at Stanford. Ugh, that don't look good. But Cal beat North Carolina, number 14 North Carolina. So it is what it is. Virginia went on the road, beat SMU after SMU just came off a buzzer-beating win, just like Kentucky, who we'll get into next. Of course, Louisville beat Pittsburgh by 40. Miami lost to Clemson by 10. Virginia Tech beat Notre Dame. Georgia Tech beat NC State. That's something. Those are interesting, like, middle of the pack game. Might determine something towards the standings at the end of the season. And then Boston College beat Syracuse in overtime, bro. What? Syracuse got some issues right now, so I guess, I don't know. So shout out to the battle of them cold-ass schools, man. But keep it moving, keep it moving. UK men's basketball. Shout out to the Cats, man. 2-0 this week. They made me sit through a miserable Missouri game last week. So shout out to the Cats fans who got some wins this week. I guess they were on the road. I didn't watch the LSU game. I can't remember. So yeah, so my bad UK fans that y'all can't get it in person, but get it how you live. To start at the LSU game maybe, and then transitioning into the Tennessee game this past week, or yesterday. First off, I've been impressed with Malachi Moreno. When I saw him in high school, I was like, bro, he might be a little soft or a little slow for the SEC trenches, because, they brutal, man. And the SEC big men, some of the most athletic. They're not polished, but not all of them are polished, but some of the most athletic, just big men and tweeners and this and that, blah, blah. And I'm just like, his skill set fits is what Mark Pope wants to get out of his big man. So I ain't stunting on that. The part is coming in so early. It gets so much playing time with JQ out. She gonna be able to do it like so quickly. And he responded, which does turn me into a fan, So it's hard to see what a 7-footer can do really in Kentucky high school basketball. But anyways, back to the point. It was actually nice seeing him, specifically Kentucky boy, exercising the demons of Christian Laettner. As Bettino tweeted out, they had a guy on the inbounds pass Kentucky fan. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. After that game, they used the same exact blueprint to go down to Tennessee and get down early. Look like they about to get smacked. Make the fans so pissed that, I'm sure the tweets was crazy. I wouldn't watch. I wouldn't own X at the time. Without Jalen Lowe on the road, no Jaden Quaitons, back against the ropes, soft Mark Popes. Show some guts, really. I'm like, all right. So I'm thinking to myself, Mark Pope is one of those, and the characterization of this is more so on the team and not him. You need to get punched in the mouth, don't you? You a dog, but you need to get the dog brought out of you. You just don't walk around with the dog, which is cool. It makes you a good person. But at the same time, y'all need to get punched in the mouth. I'm sure he wasn't cussing, but whatever Pope was saying, say that again at the beginning. Flip your, you know what I'm saying? Like, say that twice. Start the game with that and end with that. But in all seriousness, you can't stop making it so hard on yourselves. Put in the work earlier in the day so you can chill in your evenings. Don't cram it all in at the end. That don't seem fun. That just don't seem fun. Winning's fun, but winning that way isn't the most fun. It isn't the most enjoyable or efficient. You know what I'm saying? So you're not going to be able to do that against good teams, is what I'm saying. So this week, someone referred to Denzel Aberdeen as DA, and my thought was, boy, the only DA from UK, there's only one. What are you talking about? Especially the way he's playing. But the past 2 games, you got it this week. You have it this week. We ain't giving DA up, though. That's on the bill, too. But anyways, if UK wants any consistency, Tega, like, that has to be the game plan. Their aggressiveness and attacking and like they gotta almost like want the ball as much as they breathe. Like in a sense, they have to get it all off the muscle, the grit, determination, downhill of snaking. Like with that mindset, you can call me crazy. I don't think Denzel Aberdeen's a good shooter. I think it really helped that he was a lot more solid on his base when he doesn't float side to side, left to right, and he's when he jumps and he's floating more towards the rim. When he does float, he's a good shooter, right? But I think more than that, it's like their determination. Like they can will the ball in the basket more than shoot it well. So like their numbers may not be great, but when it looks in terms of the game, you're like, oh, they did this or they did that when it counted because they can. I think they're more of willing the ball in the basket kind of guys. In the bigger context, they're the tip of the sphere in the attitude, the effort, and even if their effectiveness isn't on night after night, that has to be the game plan, especially with the 2 out. Jalen and Jake and JAQ, where it's like we may have lost, but we did it our way. Because when they're lethargic, I don't think they can do anything. That team, I don't think they can do anything. But when they're locked in, I think they can beat anybody. But it starts with that, like the identity. You know what I'm saying? The identity has to be that. That's just me. And I don't know what's going on with your boy. I can't think of his name right now. Missing a session, getting thrown out of a film session. I don't know what's going on with him. I'm cool on him though. Allen needs to be eating up his minutes if and Malachi and definitely Williams. I thought Williams should have been playing like no matter what. Like you need a shooting threat. So having him and Colin out there, ideally in my head, opens up the lanes for and Ortega. What do I know? But and tonight, I don't know, they showed they can do it without the two players that UK fans have idealistically been banking on as the pivotal factors on this team's journey, and they did it without them, JQ and Jalen, leaving me more high on them than I have been this whole year. So for Wildcat fans, don't blow my high. Or Wildcats don't blow my high. That's what I feel like. Transfer portal. I'm making a hard right. The fighting Will Steins and the fighting Brahms. I'll talk about y'all both. Look, I know the portal's coming to the end. There's too many players for me to digest at the moment. I'm just keeping it a bug, especially when it comes to the roles, contributors, kind of lining them up, what they're going to do. I can't do that right now. I'm keeping it a bug. Wait till spring football. Enjoyed that everyone's roster filled out in a way that looks promising. You know, UK backup QBs from Notre Dame, you know, Louisville backup QBs from Ohio State. You know, we don't know nothing about these guys for real. But you know, we loaded up on guys and I gotta do my homework. So I'll get on that. You know, when I'm talking to these guys, they're both, you know, cut from the same cloth, Will and Brom, obviously. I'm big on trench play because both coaches are from the if you can dream it, I can scheme it kind of mindsets, trees, right? The trenches and defensive talent is what they need as complementary pieces. I don't need it to be whatever, but a top 20 defense, you can get to the playoffs with a top 20 defense, bro. You know, what I'm looking for is complementary in both of those. So that's why I'm like, you can do the ratings, you can do this, you can do that. What matches your scheme? And then on the Cards front, we don't really know that because they haven't named a defensive coordinator. So I'm not going to jump the gun on anything right now. You know, I want to react. I want to do this. I want to do that. I'm glad we got guys like AJ Greenback, Clef Loop, and Holloway. I'm glad with the guys that we brought in. You know, the Smith brothers. Like I said, the trenches specifically. I'm cool on all that, but I can't have any more conversations outside of that when it comes to the transfer portal stuff. Not at this time. It's jumping the gun. It's too premature and it's unrealistic for me to give anything of that sort. And then to stay in the NCAA before we leave, I know a lot of y'all have seen the federal investigation case on the 20 some odd universities, some being DePaul, St. John's, down to McNeese. There's all kind of stuff. There's all kind of people. Only conversation I want to have about that is we just want to take gambling back out, right? Or has the damage already been done to where people are going to, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, we have to take it back out to where it's affecting too much. Like it's ruining sports and sports for this country and the world. We always talk about it like, but in a world where it gets harder and harder on jobs and this and that, blah, 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 like that's a big spot for when it's the haves and the have-not world. Like it's still the lottery. It's still, you know what I'm saying? We're ruining our ability to trust it and love it, which then we're not going to watch it. You know what I'm saying? we created a whole economic like system, like college athletes can now get paid and stuff like that. We're gonna ruin it and shut it down. We get it ruined. Like as soon as we get it, we're gonna ruin it. And our kids really won't have the opportunity at, or it won't be as lucrative or this and that, which maybe it shouldn't be. I don't know. But anyways, point being is that it's uh it's a wildfire that's growing, and the wind is picking up on gambling, and it's making the fire grow bigger. It's like we don't care, but we do. We care about money just a tad more than morals. We want to get the feds to put these people in jail for this and that, blah blah blah. But it's still the wild wild west. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what are they, Texas Rangers or something? You know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. But in my thoughts of, I broke it down, blah, blah, thoughts of building it back up. Like, I don't know if you've joined us before. We have a past episode where we talk about the creation of college football and the government intervention that was needed because, I mean, in short, a whole bunch of college kids were dying playing the sport because it was so brutal and it was so just didn't have the rules that it wasn't modernized to today's concepts. There was government intervention, like literally. The same has to be done here. Same has to be done here. I mean, because in the same aspect, like Christian Dawkins or whatever, like serving fed time in a system that is now basically legal. Like the same thing's gonna happen with these kids if there's no protection, like from the college sports commission, whatever it's called. But there is government intervention that can be done. And I don't want to make it political, but it's like, do something. You see it, do it. Unless you're all making money off of it. That's a different conversation. But at the point, something has to be done to save the purity and sanctity of athletics. Because otherwise, it's just going to keep getting worse. Supposedly 95 tampering cases is sure. You know what I'm saying? We haven't heard them all, but supposedly across college sports. That's why I'm like, or this past year, this calendar year, whatever. So something has to be done. And I don't know if the SEC is going to start getting involved. I don't know, St. John's, money laundering. I don't know what's about to happen. I'm just telling y'all, Pandora's box is so wide open that there's no way we're just going to let it run amok, knowing that it's open and it's running amok. From the highest levels politically all the way down to, I mean, everyone's complaining about it. The coaches, the actual people who are at the grassroots foundation of this are complaining ad nauseum about it. And we're still not doing anything about it. We're just sitting around. That's a joke to me. Like, that's very careless for a system that is so beneficial to so many in politics. And Trump's going to be at the national championship and this and that. But then we don't want to attack this weird activity to me. Before we get off college sports, Broncos, Bills, we're off college sports, not my bad. Our transition, NFL. I mean, I guess if we want to hurry up and get the small shit out the way, Niners, Seahawks, ain't nothing really to talk about. I thought Seattle had their number coming into the game, but sheesh, you know what I'm saying? Like, I knew the Seahawks defense was tough. Them in Houston's tough, but sheesh, 413 yards traveled by Brock Purdy, who only threw for 120 or 140 yards and 33 dropbacks, looking for anything to call a reception. Sheesh. Brock Purdy was his team's leading passer and leading rusher. Threw for 16 more yards, but lost by double the number just mentioned. Lost by 30-something. Sheesh. I'm just like, bro, ain't nothing to really say about that game. What do you want me to talk about? What's there to talk about? Nothing. Ridiculous. Yeah, Kenneth Walker went off. I mean, it was a dominant team win when it looks at the efficiency of it overall. Nothing to talk about with that game. Only thing to talk about is, do you think Seattle's gonna beat the Bears or you feel me? Like, ain't nothing to talk about. So, let me see. So let's get to the actual game that mattered. Broncos and Bills. Oof, what a game. Quick breakdown. First thought, after Denver's first drive, I was thinking field goals ain't enough. Then I see the Bills score a touchdown right away, even against that loaded defense. Seemed like a bad sign. So I'm like, I saw them talk about Shakir, the wide receiver for the Bills, a slot wide receiver, setting like a second most in playoff history catch record. This is what I was telling. My wife Ash, Hard Knocks, she liked the little dude who was competing for a position on the team at the same spot, had his little scooter. He's cool, he's nice. She liked him. And I was telling her, I was like, the dude whose position he's trying to get, he ain't going to get it, bro. I was like, he might as well just go ahead and look for another team, put some good film together and go on, because he ain't taking Shakir's position. He's the same size. I was like, but Shakir's like, he's like that. She was like, really? I was like, yeah. I was like, you don't really know who he is. I'm like, but he can get busy. And that just shows you, like, a dude that, like, you just chilling on, just like, a little slot receiver. I don't know what you would compare him to, but it's just like, oh yeah, then he can just pop up one day and just second all time in playoff history and receptions in the game. putting up Puka shit, Puka Nakua. So that's why I was like, so I try to tell my wife Ash during Hard Knocks, I'm just like, it can get busy. No, back to the game. When James Cook ran through past Surtain on that first drive, I had two thoughts. I was like, Surtain, that was the wrong business decision. Like, you mean too much of y'all's passing defense to maybe go out on something like this. Like, just make a normal tackle. She sure and tackle with something. Like, it's a marathon, bro. You know what I'm saying? And then two, I'm looking at Cook like, bro, you're going to get effed up against this defense. Trying to start out, running through people for 4 quarters. I'm like, don't get me wrong, set the tone. But I'm like, he kept doing it to where I'm like, you're not a big elusive bruiser kind of bags. You might want to slow down on that. It is a playoff, so I don't know. Then Nicholson, caused that fumble, and I'm like, I remember it as a running back, bro. I'm looking down the pipe, and I'm like, pause. I'm looking down, and I see two people, and I'm like, I'm gonna take on one, but I'm like, I'm just gonna run him straight the fuck over. Like, I'm gonna end his day type shit. So I do, and as soon as I hit him, the ball goes flying. You know what I'm saying? So like, you gotta know what battle like you trying to win, and in the playoffs, no turnovers. So you gotta know when to pack it up and leave a little juice for the next run. And that's clearly what happened with James Cook. I mean, they were fumbling the ball all over the place. I mean, the first 40 minutes, they averaged a turnover every 10 minutes. I mean, 4 turnovers on the road, no way. But two teams who obviously wanted to use their QB's legs as an extra weapon definitely gave each other's defense something to think about all game. I mean, geez Louise. TD before halftime. I mean, both TDs early were on rollouts. Then the TD before halftime was a throwback off a rollout. So again, for people who don't understand what me and Damo are talking about, statues are going extinct. Black, white, I don't care what color you are. Be able to throw an out route consistently and have a little wheels, and you'll be all right. So not that Josh Allen started out, besides the turnover, started out playing bad. Nick started out on fire. Bo Nick started out, I mean, that drop in the end zone is the only reason the first drive ended in 3. On Denver's first TD, on that unbalanced action when the offensive lineman got out to the flats and he scored on that boot action. If y'all don't know, like from the inside of a locker room, like those are the best. Like knowing that we have that play, like those are the ones we're really trying to execute. Like it's a once in a lifetime lineman playoff touchdown reception opportunity. So when it hits, it's like jackpot. It's like putting it all on black and walking away with the winnings in the form of a football reception. You know what I'm saying? Like it's really dope. So for people like from the sideline, like it really gets everybody going. In all sports, how you end a half and how you begin the half are the difference, especially in coach speak. If you play sports, your coach always taught you that. Nothing could be more true than the 13 points given up by the Bills. At the end of the first, careless turnover, Deion Walker with a nice interception. I see you, big boy. University of Kentucky product. And then just fumbling, like on that run by Josh Allen, like such a rookie mistake. Like that was disgusting. That was absolutely. That still disgusts me. I don't care if you won. So being down 3 or 4 active receivers on the roster limits our ceiling, but Josh has something to do with that. I mean, each week I'm watching him throw a risky ball. He's getting one of his wide receivers smacked. And we're living in a day and age where wide receivers are more protected than ever. Could you imagine 10, 15 years ago, Josh? I mean, come on, man. Be better at that. Anyways, down 13 to start the third, the Bills respond with a much-needed TD. Then Denver on the next possession, former, like I said, University of Kentucky defensive lineman Deion Walker with a huge interception. I always loved dude's play. I loved him at UK. Now the game is seemingly turned on its head until Josh Allen said, hold my beer right. I can throw an interception better than you, Bo. And he did. It was an arm punt, but still. And it was at that point that they were averaging a turnover every 10 minutes of play on the road, still down by only 1 possession. I was like, shit, God might be a Bills fan. Maybe Stove Guy. For anyone who knows on the rap tip, Stove Guy cooks fire. Then Denver decided after that effort, let him back in the game. Next thing you know, Shakir and Kincaid, two big catches, got him up 1 to start the 4th. Not how the game's supposed to go after all that momentum killing and bad play by the Bills to end the second and begin the third. I know as Denver fans, I'm thinking it's like splitting sevens and blackjack. Then you get a second hand and you get a 7 again and you split it again. So now you got 3 hands. I mean, and you win one, but you lose the others. And then you end up just losing more money than you gained after doing all that work. So it's like, what the So anyways, of course, Denver takes that attitude into the next hand, punting the ball back to a surging Buffalo offense ready to stop itself. Because Denver isn't, obviously. until the last 10 minutes of the fourth quarter in OT, where everybody and their mama just started making plays. That's real NFL football right there. That's what we've been waiting on. So, and the Bills do that well. They did it all season. The question was who's going to have the ball last to make the play. And with Denver being up, they came down, they scored. Now they're up 3 with like a minute left, and Bills ran out of time to win the game. Bills down 3 with less than a minute, put it in hyperdrive, getting into field goal range thanks to a hook and ladder executed by another former University of Kentucky Wildcat. Bills backup Ray Davis, running back. But the Broncos, their secondary made some of those last-minute shots just difficult enough to force a 50-yard field goal, giving the Bills a chance to tie at the end of regulation, which the Bills, of course, made look like light work in that thin, frigid, mile-high air. Both teams received possession for the ball in OT. Neither produced any points on their first drives. Of course, Denver on their second possession. 2 PIs later, the last being on a deep ball from Bo Nix that was just asking for a flag. I mean, he threw it up. I can't believe he even threw the ball up like that. Should look like a roller coaster ride or something. 6 flags. That's what it looked like, speaking of a flag. Anyways, he lofted it perfectly in the air where it felt like it just stood still for a little bit. And my dog, Tre'Davious White boy, ran himself into a play that needed him to run into the play in order for it to unfold the way it did. Because that was not going to be a catch. Turn your head, Tre'Davious. Turn your head. So the Broncos just kick an easy field goal and win the game. Tough loss. I love Tre'Davious. He reminds me of Darnell for real. I ain't gonna lie. So, but anyways, and then we're Steelers fans over here. Y'all know what it is. So to end the show, Steelers thoughts on the season. I ended with how I thought it would. Remember how I told you? We ended with one more regular season win than we thought, and then a loss in the first round. And a loss where we got smacked too. Purgatory. We told you it was gonna happen, bro. So don't argue with us no more. No, but I will say before the season, I wasn't really happy with Aaron Rodgers as our quarterback by the end of the season. I want him to come back and give it one more run. I'm not gonna lie, come back. Fuck it. You balled good enough, bro. So I want Kenneth Gainwell back. Oh gosh, I want Kenneth Gainwell back. Oh gosh. Cam Hayward played so well on those last few games that I'm like, please come back for one more. But at the same time, I know it's a marathon for you, bro. So do as you do. I'm gonna miss all Aaron Rodgers if he goes, Cam Hayward if he goes, Mike Tomlin. I mean, it's a eulogy, man. Love Mike. Situation got stale. The organization didn't support him, and it means that they supported him early on. That's just my opinion. My opinion also is that I thought there was scuttle over drafting Lamar Jackson because Big Ben was still there and him being a crybaby, but him holding enough power to where it held enough weight to ruin the projection of our team. Since that point, I thought that was a pivotal point. I don't think that's on Mike. I think Mike's a great dude. Got a great family. He can go live a great life. I think he should go do it. That's what I think. I think you giving us 2 decades of your finest work. Sure, stay around the game. You go around your family. The game loves you and you love it back. The game will be here for years and years, and it will change and it'll fall back in love. It has a bunch of lovers, man. Your family don't. So the owner basically said, a coach in the mode of Mike is what we're looking for. He didn't say that. He basically said that, to paraphrase. Someone who can motivate and be the leader in the room of leaders. So we'll see what candidates that the kissing cousins of the NFL bring about. Better be some new meat. Pause. Shouldn't have said that. Well, all right. The NCAA title game predictions, Indiana, Miami, down at Miami. I think it's going to be a freaking show. I think Miami still wins, though. Why did I say that? Maybe that was Freudian of me. I think the Hoosiers win. I think the Hoosiers win by double digits. I think that's the difference between. I'm not saying Miami's not there for the shit, but Indiana's there for the shit. Like they there for the prize only. Like they in one of the nicest spots in America or something like that. They're there for business. They want to wreck shit. They want that shit bad. I'm just going with the team who's shown that they want it, disgustingly bad. Miami's wanted it bad. Other teams want it disgustingly bad. So, yeah, I don't know, man. Anything y'all want me to talk about, I tell y'all this all the time. Please respond. Y'all don't even got to hit it up in the comments. Hit me up, whatever, bro. You want to jump on and talk, blah, blah, blah. Let's get it in. Season 2 of the OddBall, man. Rate, review, subscribe, ODD, POD. That's the squad. ODDBALL is where we talk all ball. Sometimes we'll break it together. I told y'all at the beginning. Please tap in with the pod. Please follow us on YouTube for our full-length content. Please follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and wherever else you can get us for the short-form content. I mean, come on, y'all. We got some dope stuff coming up, not only for, Black History Month. We got some dope stuff coming up for hopefully we got some Grammy winners that is going to be on. Can't divulge too much information on that. People will march with Dr. King. Guys, we just some little niggas doing big shit. You feel me? So thank y'all. Love y'all. Keep that good energy going. Keep it our perspective. If I gave you something to think about, share it with somebody. That's how we understand. Knowing is one thing. Understanding is greater. Love y'all. Later.